The laughter hit me before the words did. It rolled across the dining table like a wave I couldn't outrun. Forks paused midair, glasses clinked, someone snorted, and there I was, smiling politely, while my husband's sister's new boyfriend turned me into the joke of the night. He didn't know my story. He didn't know what was coming next. Dinner was supposed to be simple. That's what I told myself as I smoothed my dress and followed my husband, Mark, into his parents' house, the smell of rosemary. Chicken filled the air, warm and familiar. Sunday dinners were tradition. Safe, predictable, until Evan walked in. He arrived 10 minutes late. Expensive cologne announcing him before he spoke. Tailored blazer. Watch that probably cost more than my car. He kissed my sister-in-law, Claire, on the cheek like he owned the room. And maybe thought he did. "This is Evan," Claire said, glowing. "He just moved back from New York." Evan smiled at me. It didn't reach his eyes. Dinner started politely enough. Small talk. Wine poured. Then the questions began. "So, what do you do?" Evan asked me, swirling his glass. "I manage a logistics team at a regional distribution company," I said. Simple, honest. He blinked. Oh, a pause. "So, like warehouse stuff?" A couple of chuckles. I smiled anyway. As the night went on, the comments sharpened. Evan talked about hedge funds, rooftop bars, and people who just didn't think big enough. Every story somehow curved back to money. Then came the moment. "So," he said loudly, leaning back in his chair, "no offense, but don't you ever feel embarrassed?" The table went quiet, being average. He added, "I mean, some people are born to build, others just clock in." Laughter broke out. Not cruel, not loud, but enough. My cheeks burned. Mark shifted beside me, but said nothing. Claire avoided my eyes. I laughed softly, the survival laugh. The one women learn early, inside. I folded inward. I remembered nights studying after double shifts, the years I worked while everyone else slept, the risks I took quietly, without applause. Evan raised his glass. "Hey, I respect hard work. Someone has to do it." More laughter. I took a sip of water to steady my hands. What none of them knew, what Evan never bothered to ask, was that this table was built on assumptions, and assumptions have a way of collapsing. Dinner continued, but something had shifted. I wasn't shrinking anymore. I was waiting. I didn't respond. Not because I couldn't, but because I wouldn't. There's power in restraint. I learned that long before this dinner, long before Evan decided I was a punchline. The conversation drifted, but Evan kept circling back to me like a cat batting at something it thought was weak. "You know," he said later, smiling thinly, "success really comes down to ambition. Some people just don't have it." Mark finally spoke. "That's not fair." Evan raised his hands. "Relax, man. Just conversation." I touched Mark's arm gently. "It's okay." It wasn't, but I needed him calm. What Evan didn't know was that the regional distribution company I worked for wasn't just my employer, it was my project. 5 years earlier, when it was drowning in inefficiency, I'd been hired quietly, no fancy title, no spotlight. I redesigned their entire logistics system, cut costs, increased delivery speed, opened new contracts. I worked weekends, holidays, nights fueled by vending. Machine coffee. When the company expanded, I didn't update my LinkedIn. I didn't correct people at dinner parties. I learned early that loud success attracts the wrong kind of attention. Evan leaned toward me again. "So what's the dream? Or is this it?" I met his eyes for the first time that night. "I'm living it." He laughed, harder this time. That's when Mark's father cleared his throat. "Actually," he said, "there's something we haven't mentioned." Everyone looked at him. He nodded toward me. "She's the reason my retirement account survived last year." Evan frowned. "I'm sorry." Before anyone could explain, Evan's phone buzzed on the table. He glanced down and froze. His smile vanished. Claire noticed. "Everything okay?" Evan stared at the screen, then at me. "What did you say you did again?" I tilted my head. "I manage logistics." His phone buzzed again. This time, he stood up. "Excuse me." He walked toward the hallway, voice low, urgent, the room filled with whispers. Mark looked at me. "What's going on?" I exhaled slowly, I think. He just realized where he is. The laughter from earlier felt distant now, hollow. Something was unraveling. Evan returned pale. He didn't sit right away, just stood there, gripping the back of his chair. Is there another name for your company? He asked me carefully. Yes, I said, but you'd recognize the parent brand. Silence. Claire laughed nervously. Evan. He swallowed. The firm I work for. His voice cracked. We just lost a bid, a massive one, to a company that optimized supply chains faster than anyone thought possible. Mark's mother's eyes widened. Oh, Evan looked at me. That was you. I nodded. The room shifted. Chairs creaked, forks lowered. Evan sat down slowly, the confidence draining from him like air from a punctured tire. You're the operations lead? Senior partner, I corrected gently. As of last quarter. No one laughed. Evan forced a smile. Wow, I guess you kept that quiet. I didn't feel the need to explain myself, I said, especially not to people who decided who I was without asking. Claire stared at her plate. Evan cleared his throat. Look, I was just joking earlier. I leaned forward. Jokes are usually funny to everyone. The silence was heavy, but clean. Then Mark reached for my hand, squeezed it, pried. Finally, in his eyes, Evan nodded stiffly. I owe you an apology. I smiled. Not sharp, not cruel, just finished. Apologies matter most when they come before the laughter. Dinner ended quietly after that. As we stood to leave, Evan avoided my gaze. The man who mocked average couldn't meet the eyes of the woman who outgrew his definition of success. In the car, Mark finally spoke. I should have stopped him sooner. I nodded. But now you know why I didn't need to. The truth is, humiliation only works when you accept the frame someone gives you. Evan saw a version of me that made him feel taller. I didn't correct him, because I didn't need his validation. A week later, Claire called. She didn't mention Evan much. He's different now, she said. Quiet. I wished her well. And I meant it. Success isn't about silencing others. It's about standing steady when they try to shrink you. That night at the table taught me something I'll never forget. You don't owe your story to anyone. And sometimes the most powerful response is letting the truth arrive on its own.